Morning peeps, morning everyone. How's it going? How's it going? Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you're coming to the charts rested. Maybe some of you caught some of that short last night. Maybe some of you took the failed breakdown for the move back into the gap. Hopefully some of you have made money. Hopefully none of you have done anything stupid, because we're coming into a very sensitive area as we open up this morning. So let's just go over some of these things and just take the gex off to clean this up for a start. Okay, this is the big area. We talked about it in the newsletter. All right, this is from the 2024 high. You can see right down here, 2024 high. We did the old tariff, drove up, trapped liquidity, have sold down. We're back testing this POC. All right, very, very, very big POC. It's the most traded level since the high that we put in 2024. So it matters, folks. It matters. Big gap down over the weekend, and if we go to a daily, you can see we're starting to absorb some of that gap to drift back up. So we held the 50-day. All right, so over the weekend the gap held the 50-day. It's trying to come and tap back into this kind of level here. So we're watching this morning how we're going to react. Previous day low, previous day open, and that point of control into sort of 200s all the way up to 250s is what we're watching. All right, this node here, this POC, and how we act there becomes important. Remember, when there's a big old gap under here, they protected it again last night. There was a failed breakdown of these lows. So I was short yesterday into last night into that, took most of my money off, tried to hold a runner in case we did that move, and stopped out break even the runner while I was asleep, which is absolutely fine. All right, so we just have to see now, do they complete this gap fill? Do we have sell pressure come back in? Very, very possible that if we don't break down, all right, I'm going to call this like an island up here. We're holding this island, right? Big gap down below here. We might just keep rotating here while they figure out what they want to do with it. But macro environment is not very good. Beyond the wall, I'm looking beyond the wall. All right, credit, private credit issues, liquidity issues, etc., etc., etc. So we have to be ready for this. I don't want to be the guy trying to bid up into the key levels. All right, into the hourly charts. Let's just move this up, make sure you can see it all. There we go. All right, so previous week levels here, you can see we are in this island. All right, from the previous week, and under here we have all the singles which are being protected. They had a chance last night. We were positioned for this short. They had a chance to do this. They saved it. It's a good save. I don't know what they're saving it on, but they're saving it no matter what. All right, so they might just want to come and test this level and see if they want to get out. Remember, like we talked about last week, it's possible they got their exit there on Friday that we traded on stream. So the first move I'll be watching today, I'm not going to be long up into this, all right? I'll be watching to see if sellers defend this block here, this old POC, previous week POC, all right, which is currently naked, I guess, previous day value area low, and this big rotation here. Do we have a morning drive into here, which is sold into? That's the first question for me, all right? Is there an opportunity to sell this back down into overnight POC of the 100? So there might be a 100, 150 point trade here. To be the first thing I'm looking for, all right, in this low volume. All right, can we trade from this side to this side? Question mark. All right, if they start regaining over this, this is not going to be a trade I'd want to take, but if they start to regain over this and hold, they might rotate here for a bit. And if there's a bid outside of this, it's very possible that they come back for these Friday highs. I don't think that's going to happen, but I also didn't think we would save this and be here. So I'm not going to fight the market. If the market is going to be bonkers and catch people offside, then it's going to be bonkers and catch people offside. I'm not going to trade against the market, but I will first of all be looking for some kind of sell in here, some kind of morning push back down, partials into these. And then if they want to break down under this today or tomorrow or any point this week, we'll be watching for it to let go of 25,000 and then under this and flip this into resistance for this gap fill. All right, so that's what we'll be watching for later on in the week. But first job, how do we react here? Is there a sell opportunity, or do they close the gap and hold the bid? We'll see. If we look down at the gamma, all right, we held, again, the key level. These have actually rechanged overnight, but we reclaimed this put support, let's call it. All right, so this support level into 25,000, we'll reclaim it and we're having a drive up. Now, the highest volume node right now is right up here. into 25,000. What's this? 320. Where's the gap fill? Gap fill would be 280. Previous day point of control would be 270. Previous week point of control is 230. So into this level here is, if I was a seller, that's where I'd be hanging out. All right, I'd be hanging out. Where's the 4 o'clock close here? I'll be hanging around out somewhere in here. So I'm going to wait to see if there's an overextension. I don't want to buy this up here today, folks. I'm not going to be a buyer up here. Again, that's just my plan. I'm going to stick to my plan. If I was going to be a buyer, I would have needed to buy this when I was asleep down here for that drift back up into this. I'm not going to buy up here. You're asking for trouble. We've already moved from 930 to 185, almost 200 points higher already. All right, so in that gap, we'll just see. We'll see what happens. But that's my plan. See if there's a selling opportunity here. If there isn't, we can just reassess and see what's what. Okay, lower time frame. You can say in a drive and a drift up. Again, VWAP coming into the same place as previous week point of control, into this little gamma level, but possibly they come all the way up here for previous day value area high in these 320s. It would be one hell of a push if they managed to do that. There is news today. I should probably say that before we go any further. Let's make sure we got the right thing. Yes, home sales, 10 o'clock. Right, I doubt those are going to be particularly good, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, let's go through the ES. Same story. Right, exactly the same story on ES. Held the breakdown level. I haven't touched these since last week. I haven't even looked at ES. So held that breakdown level. Don't move it. All right, reclaiming these 800s. All right, so the chance for sellers was to defend this. That was the opening drive, and to get under that for that move. They failed to do it. They've reclaimed. There is difference in the high volume node. Look how we're at that high volume node right now. So we'll just have to see how dealers act here. Like, are they willing to hold this morning and try and get all the way into that gap fill? Big question mark. 850 is the equivalent level if they do. So we were watching 840s, 850s, and 825s. All right. Do sellers come in here? All right. And are they able to get that flush down? Watching this node here as well. So we'll see on ES, but we do have divergence there. We'll go through some of the names and the reasons why shortly. SPY, exactly the same as we coming up to these pre-market highs. All right, this is your resistance level on the options market, 77. You can see they've already rejected it once. This is your high volume node, 76. This is your support, is 75. So not much of a range to play in here in the spiders. Right, if they get over 77s, they'll look for previous day low and gap fill. If they come under P1, then obviously we got to be careful for that big move down. All right, all the way back down to here is possible. Let's just make sure we get those changed in case I need to glance at this. You, my friend, are the wrong color. There we go, and you. Okay, QQQ, same story. All right, coming up to pre-market highs. Again, gamma's all over the shop here, not lining up the same as ES. You can see high volume nodes much higher, but gap fill levels, previous day low. All right, looking for that, for me, morning drive that they sell into. All right, and we'll need to see an overextension and buyers get caught if I'm going to play that. All right, if I don't see that and they go in a grind and grind and grind, I'm not going to fight the grind all the way up. I'm just going to let it do it. I'm probably not going to join it unless there's a big flush for me to join, and they've already done that. So it's unlikely that I'm going to see it this morning if they've already done it pre-market. Dixie's falling back in now. All right, that's coming right back in. Weakness in the dollar. Surprise, surprise. Right, maybe they got their exit up here. We'll see. And if it does come back in, it's got downside room. We can have a look at CL, which is also coming in back in oil. So 105 is the big level. All right, they're defending the gap in oil, so gapping up. All right, into the midpoint, they're defending 105s for now. All right, there was someone took some huge puts there on Friday, so that you know. So we'll see. So we'll see if we can get a downside slide on oil, or if they're going to hold this pivot and fill this gap. All right, so this is inverse to the Qs right now, obviously. And VIX, all right, we're still underneath this channel now on the VIX, and you can see it's starting to reject this high volume node at 21.5. So these are the same levels we talked about last week. If we move lower time frame, you can see we've just tapped into it pre-market. We're coming back down to the 20s. Nothing's changed here. We're still elevated, but you know, we're going to have to see how we rotate between these levels. All right, if we see sustained weakness, the market might go risk on. I find that hard to believe, but weirder things have happened. Break over 21, then we have gap fill potential, and that's risk off area for the market. All right, let's get into the names and see how we're acting here. Apple gapping down. All right, want to be careful of this move here. All right, sell pressure right now, but we're inside last week's range with a look above it and fail. So we'll just see, does Apple break sort of 58s for that slide down to 55s, 56s, but so far gapping down on Apple. Amazon, all right, just filled its gap. All right, so there's Friday's move. We open up on the high volume node, we drive up, we fill the gap, it's pulling back already. Goog, all right, trying to get back into its gap. So there's last week's range after the Tuesday print. All right, nothing's changed. Right back into the midpoint. So you'd want to see how you act here on Google, if they sell it back down or not. Meta, same story, gap down. There's the range. You're starting to lose some of this range here on Meta. All right, remember it was a huge move last week. We've been long in this. It needs a pullback. So you're watching to see how we act into Friday's levels, right? Friday's low, Friday's close, right? Is there a failure there, or is it a reclaim and a chop day like this while they build out liquidity for tomorrow? Very, very possible. I'm very aware of that. Microsoft, that's good. All right, so news here this morning on Softy. I think it was AI news. So holding its bid at this key level. You can see this. There's your look above failure, but we haven't broken down. All right, so gapping up on Softy, and the upside move will be into sort of 75s. If they fail 75s, they come back down in this range. Quite a big range here. About an 8-point range or $8 range on Softy. If they break over 75s, they'll try and get to 80s and then back to these highs. But you can set price alerts there for yourself if you're trading, if you're actively trading these names. I'm just swinging them. Nvidia did a good job, like we talked about, failing the 170s, reclaiming the 170s, and coming to the other side of the range. Once we see a look below and a fail, a look below and a fail, we expect it to come the other side of the range, which is what we are seeing here. So into these key levels of 190, it depends if we're going to get a continuation run in chips. Remember, we're into earnings now as well, folks. All right, so earnings season has started. Some of those chip names, early ones came last week. Was it TMS? I always get it confused. SMCI it wasn't, so TMS last week. Tesla, which is why they all caught a bid, which is why I'm saying that. Tesla, all right, still looks weak to me. Doesn't look like something I would actively want to trade this. Not from the bull side here. When you compare it to rest of tech, it still looks weak. All right, we are just drifting and drifting and drifting and drifting. Daily's starting to come into some key levels, all right, but down here is the area of interest for me where we broke out from, retested, held. Does it want to come back to that, or are we going to hold this? But we haven't seen any much bullish flow come into it yet. So weakness in Tesla, but opening up pretty much flat. Let's have a quick look at some of the software because it got hammered again last week. All right, Oracle's trying to find a bid here this morning. All right, still got a little piece left in this block. All right, the question is, can it find a bid up here? But software's been very, very ugly. Hardware caught a bid last week. Software didn't. Chips did. AMD, surprising the amount of strength it's been able to hold on to this year. Still looks good. Trying to complete this move back to the top side. All right, there's the range. There's the breakout of the range. Now we're into supply. So it depends how we act here or if we can get through it. Netflix looks good through the 100. It was unfortunate I didn't get to reload down into here, but we are still long from these, and we look good for a good old retracement coming into some of these key levels now where these buyers are caught. So that's the one big one which has done really well. We got earnings coming this week, so just be aware of that. Hood, the same kind of story, right? Weak on software. All right, let's get back to the Qs. It's nice and big. All right, so you know what I'm looking for. Whether it gives it to me or not is a whole different thing, but that's what I'm looking for. We'll see. See if it wants to play ball. Coming right up towards, yeah, previous week point of control. Make sure I've got these at the right level. Previous day value very low. New York open. New York view up, sorry. So we'll see if we get a pump into that and a failure, or if they're going to close the gap. Not in a rush here this morning. Again, made my money last night already, folks. So we will just see. Don't forget, there we go. There's the pump into previous week point of control. Nice one to start the day. And we'll see now. All right, do they come for gap fill, or is there a failure up here? Let's see. Sorry, just trying to see the order flow on that. Didn't have it quite ready on NinjaTrader. All right, so failing, or at least getting stuck at previous week point of control for now. There's lots of liquidity high still that they can come and clean out if they're going to move for view up and stuff. But these are the areas of interest up here where I'm interested in being short. All right, anywhere up here where I'm interested in being short if there's some kind of push and failure to play backside back down into the range. Big level there on the ES as well. Big cool wall you just tapped into at 840. Big cool wall at 840 on the ES. Let me just get the spiders out. Again, not much alignment in the options market between the ETFs and the futures today. It's been a few days in a row we've seen that. See if they can sort themselves out. I should remind you, as they're friends of the show, Apex sale still on, 90% sale on Apex, code FCT. We will do some giveaways today. Still 40% sale on Lucid, still a sale on Tradeify, still a sale on My Funded Futures. I think they're about to launch a one-day pass thing today. I'm waiting to hear about that. But code FCT for all your favorite prop firms. Other than Take Profit, you can use code FlowZone there. We'll give you 40% off right now with no activation fee. All right, just waiting to see how we sort of move for these first few minutes. Going to give it a chance here, but that was a nice move this morning. And we'll see. I wonder if they still want to close the gap because those sellers, passive sellers, are still just sat up towards 250 right now. But a good move on ES, right into a key level. Do I ever check bonds? Yeah, I check move and I check the 10-year and 30 years, and I have them on a side monitor. I don't do it on stream, but yeah, I have them all up at the moment. I normally look at the 10 and the 30. Don't really care about underneath that. All right, it's a good pop and fail. So we'll see here. Sellers starting to step into the market. We'll see here how we rotate this range that we've just put in. Do they defend 225? Remember we said 200 to sort of 250s is the level that we're looking at. First level we're looking at. So if pop starts to fail here, we can try and get involved for the downside move. Oh, you're going to give a pop that fails, though, is the question. All right, let's have a look at the mag. Most of it's pretty heavy, so I'm looking to get involved here if possible. Microsoft and Tesla are the only ones green, everything else red on the day. We need a pop-up towards 215s, maybe even that seller at 209s. Don't really want this to flush much further without popping up to give me an entry here. Buyers coming in defending the low side of this range here at 97s in front of the 200. So waiting to see if we can pop into sort of 209s, 215s, and then if we trap buyers there, I'll be looking for the short there. Big if, but that's what I'm watching. If we come up here and fail, here's the drive up. I need to see if buyers come in and fail here, if there's a passive offer here. All right. They haven't cleaned out any of the liquidity above. And are they going to move down? They're still sat there at the moment, not really interested yet. These guys, it's a bit like last week, these guys at 250, not really wanting to join at 225s yet. So we'll just have to wait and see. Here comes a seller, more aggressive on VPOC. Still think this has got a reach out in it at the moment. Top side of the range, then 225. Do they hold the New York Open now? I'm interested here, folks. I'm interested in the sell at the moment. Just need to see some buyers get stuck. Not really seeing that yet. If they don't get stuck, obviously we can keep lifting. So that's why I'm watching the tape here. So still buyers coming in. Still those sellers just at 55s, not willing to move lower. So it's very much like the last, definitely like a week plus, where sellers haven't been really willing to join. They just like sit above. And like normally if you'd see an aggressive tape, those sellers sat above would like come and walk price down. We're not really seeing that. You can see on Bookmap if you have it, all those guys at 230, 240, 250 and above still up there. Bid starting to come in at 210s now. So let's see. This is the sort of battle area here where it starts to get interesting. Sellers coming back in, back to the low side of the range. The value area low right now for me, 205 is kind of the same area. All right, if we start to fail this, I'm going to stick something on. Can we pop up a little bit before you just take out these lows? Looking for a short here if they can pop up and fail. Be careful. ES holding on very, very well. 77, a big level on the spiders as well. I need to be aware of. Can you come up to 215s for me, or are you going to make me join here? All right, stuck something on here, small size. I was looking for a fill at 215 for that retrace back up, but just want to come in small size. There is a buyer this morning at 97, so I want to see if they defend him or not. And if we stay heavy at 215, I'll add. If we clear that out, I'll just take the small starter off. Here we go. Tapping into this buyer who is here at 97s. If we get under that, we've got a wash coming. He's under 97s. Need to see acceptance under this to move lower now. And I'll start to add if we start to reject 97s or 205. Beautiful, beautiful. Exactly what we're looking for this morning in pop-ups to fail. Really nice. Here we go, folks. Really good. So we just want to stay heavy versus 97s now, ideally, and come and clean out this range and come right back down and in. So you can move your stop in. You can start paying yourself if you're scalping. I'm going to try and hold on to this position because we've come into the key level that I wanted to sell at. We want 97s to 205s to stay heavy, folks. Okay. Sticking to our rules this morning, short side. This is everything we talked about pre-market. Coming into some imbalances here. This is where they absorbed the tape earlier this morning at sort of 920. So again, we'd want 97s and 205s to stay heavy on this retracing. You do not want full reclaims. You would want sellers to say, hey, no, you're not coming back up. Again, ES, very, very key is the 225s. Is it 225? Sorry, 825s. Come on, Alex. 825s, that high volume option level on ES. So here's the tap in towards 97 to 205s. This is key now, whether we're going to have follow through or not. Good rejection so far. If they start reclaiming, certainly if they reclaim New York Open, not interested in holding on. Did not pay myself yet either. So looking for a deeper move. I'm looking to trade right back into this, from grey to grey if possible, or certainly into overnight point of control. So ideally I'm looking for sort of 100s if possible. All right, so I'm in short from here. And I'm looking for this move here. If they reclaim this, I'll be out. I'm not going to read the chat, folks. I'm focused into the trade. If you don't know what I'm doing, it means you've got here late. I was only talking about one side of the trade today. I was very, very, very clear pre-market what I was looking at. I'm sorry, I just cannot give attention to the chat when I'm trying to be in a trade. I have to try and trade as well, folks. All right, watching very carefully here. Buyer stepped in at 97s, remember. Need that ideally to stay heavy, and ideally we move under 84s, which is where they last tried to bid. Mag now all red other than Microsoft. 97 is a big level. Otherwise, we test 207s and the New York Open. I will not hold over New York Open. ES done a very good job. It's the options dealers there holding the 25s. That's a slight concern for me. So the high volume node on ES, we're holding above. This is the problem. We've got massive divergence. We're above this on ES. So there is big divergence here in the options market, which might make it a little bit tricky here this morning. I think that divergence started Thursday last week off memory. Still rejecting 97s, which is good, but we need to move under 97s, under 84s for me to be very comfortable. Beautiful. Come on, get under 83, 84s now. And then give me that lower low. This is what we just drew out. So we need to get under this node here, and then we can start to move. In this node, there was a buyer trying to absorb the take. We do have an imbalance into this node. So the buyers stepped in here at 83, 84, somewhere around there. So I want to get under his price. So he starts sort of panicking out, but we'll see. And you know what? I'm going to move my stop just slightly into the money. Just let this work out. Beautiful. Come on, break under this guy here. We need to get under 84. And we should set a lower low under that. ES needs to stop being such a bitch. It's literally like Friday. It's exactly like Friday. The divergence, very big. It might make this a very hard trade. So ES right now is at its New York VWAP, at its New York Open, holding above the high volume node, potentially in positive gamma if it starts squeezing up. So I want to be very careful here. So I might move my stop in the money in case they do something stupid. Remember, we have news at 10 o'clock as well. Where's my TP? I'm looking to trade all the way down into this grey box. So overnight point of control, anywhere down here. All right, I want to be TPing some out here, and then I'll hold runners just in case we start breaking down. All right, but into here will be a decent TP level for me. I'm looking for this move here, but it won't happen if they keep holding the bid and holding ES. If they're determined to close the gap first, then they're going to close the gap first, and I'll just take a stop. I'm about to take me stopped out, break even here if it starts lifting into New York Open. So if they want to be stupid, again, it's all due to ES being a bit of a bitch right now. So out of this now, and I'll have another go if it sets up again. They fucking take me out on a Monday morning to flush it, I'll be very upset. But ES is going to make this very hard work, I think, at the moment. That's a good pop to fail there. If you've just run me, I'll be very upset with you, NQ. If you've given me the Alex trade 12 minutes into the week, I'm going to be very upset with you. I have to look to get re-involved here. What an asshole. What an asshole. The big problem right now is this. Right, it's holding its options level, and it's right at that New York Open, and it has more room if it wants to go. So I'm just being maybe overly cautious, but I don't want to get caught in a stupid move higher in NQ because ES is unwilling to hold on. If the dealers are like, we have to move higher to get our exit, just like Friday, and I'm not going to fight them. Yeah, I also made my big money was made last night. I can show you. So I'm not like overly bothered. This was last night. So whatever. Whatever happens, I'm okay. All right, back into this 97 to 83 range. So we'll see. Still considering the same. I'm still looking for the same move. Nothing's changed. It's just when it's going to be a timing issue rather than me flip-flopping. I know what I'm looking for. It's just, can we time it? It's already run me out in the money once. Okay, here we come back to 84. So if we start rejecting again here, I'm going to be forced to try and get re-involved for the same kind of move. Need ES to stop playing games, though. Again, we'd want 97 to 206s to stay heavy and a breakdown under 85s. Same play. Can't believe it whipped me out in a great area. I can absolutely believe it, but it's just annoying. All right, into these 83s. So still looking for a sell here to trade lower. There are imbalances here. There's internal liquidity down into sort of 56s. So let's see if we can get re-involved here for a short. Yeah, still doing a fantastic job of holding on. Divergence still here. Here's into the opening range low here this morning, the white line. If we break down under here, we're going to get the move. So trying to get involved in this somehow, as it's already washed me out once. Yeah, still holding on. Nowhere near its opening range low. It's right in the middle of its morning range. So again, same levels we're looking at. Pops to fail in front of 97s. Here's the break. You absolute mother clucker. The Alex trade. Well, everything I wanted. Right, let's see if I can get involved. God, ES. What a way to start a Monday. Oh, God. All right, I'll see if pops to 80s would be ideal here. I think it's just going to probably wash, though, without me. See if we can get involved somehow. Any little pop-up would be nice here. There's bids all the way down to 150. So I don't want to get short into the bids. I want pops to fail. So watching 80s here, and then I'd also watch 97s again, same kind of range, but somewhere in here, 80s to 97s, 20-point range, that kind of level. All right, stuck something on that pop. Small size, because it's not the best area like I had before, but we're okay. There's a little imbalance up to 93s, which they just sold into, and we need a lower low now to come. And we want ES to move under 25s, ideally. Again, I'm going to try and let this work. I want to try and trade down to here if possible. We'll see. It might not let it go, but this is where I'd like to get down to, if possible, today. Watching these areas here for rejections. Come on. Come on, break down. Here we go. Beautiful. All right, let's let it go now. Come on, folks. So 100 lot 150. I want to trade under him. And we're trying to get down into here if possible, folks. Here we go. Into this info. Just finding an imbalance here at 63s. Once we start moving under these pivots, this is sort of 5-minute pivot. Yeah, once we start breaking under 56s, we can start really moving, I think. There we go. Come on. Seriously, stop faffing. Such a pain right now to trade. This is again ES, unwilling to break down. Divergence again. If you look at it, ES right back to New York Open. The divergence is being a real pain in the butt. All right, I'm just going to get a quick reload on this coffee. I'm sure my stop is at VPOC right now. I'm not big size. I'm going to try and let it go and work out. I'm just going to get a quick refill. Be right back. Oh my God, ES, you absolute shitbag. All right, well, out of this. What a shitbag of a fucking market this is. What are you doing, ES? Fuck me. What a way to start on Monday. All right, gap fill it is then. Well, at least we stopped out. Jesus fucking Christ. Thank you, market, for divergence again. Well, small loss on that one. Took a small win earlier, small loss on that one. Up for gap fill we come. We're seeing here. Oh, great. Just a fucking headline on the New York Post. We're back to headline market, are we? New York Post, Iranians officials are studying abandoning uranium enrichment as a US condition to end the war. Yeah, of course they are. What fucking timing that was. Now we believe the New York Post headlines. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right, ES coming for gap fill. I'm going to look for the same thing. Nothing's changed for me, but this is the drift higher. So I ate my stop there while I was getting the coffee. So first one, I think I was short here, stopped out in the money. Second one, I think I was short here or something, stopped out the money. And this is just frothy now because the New York Post has decided we're ending the war, has it? Jesus. Maybe I'll write a headline. Maybe I'll write a headline now. We just believe anything printed now, do we? It must be that the New York Post are in Islamabad having those conversations. Oh, wait, no, they're not. Okay, gap now filled across all markets. So efficient market now. I'm still looking for the same trade, but I'm going to need buyers to get stuck. Remember, divergence at play here in terms of where we are in exposure to the options. But ES filled its gap. SPY actually just missed it by a tick. QQQ, NQ both filled the gap. And VIX coming into that big 20 level we talked about this morning. If I've just got run out there for a headline to get them the efficient market, it's going to be hilarious. I'm going to have to be very careful looking for this same trade now, but I'm still looking for the sell. All right, nothing has changed for me. It's a pump off a headline, and we've now been efficient. It's the same area. Nothing changes for me. I'm looking for the same kind of move. So I need to wait and see for buyers to get caught here. We have caught some, but it's a big frothy move up. Sellers defending that well into that opening range. We'll see if we can pop up a little bit more and look for the same kind of trade. What a Monday. What a fucking Monday. Oh, you gotta laugh. News triggered market right now. It's been that way for months, hasn't it? All right, ES into that 640. So it held 25s, filled its gap, 640 next level. Past one eval, nice. Good work. I certainly haven't. I've eaten a loss there. It's okay. Right, sellers came in and defended 60s there on that way down. So we're looking for 60s to 75 pop-ups to fail. Are they going to let this whole thing go now because it's bullshit? I don't know how I'm going to get involved. So we're trading right back into volume now. Some hedge fund was like, I need a fucking out at close. Can someone write something? I'll pay you whatever you want. Okay, we're holding this volume now. What is this? Needs to be accurate. There's the edge. There's the edge. So trading into that other node from last week. Still nothing's changed. This is an area where I would want to be a seller in, not a buyer in. So I'm going to look for sells. They've just made it very hard with this move here this morning, because now we have to respect this. All right, we have to respect this. So no big sell comes until we're underneath that. They can still hold this and drive out here if they want. So don't want to be a seller early in this now because of how they've built this out. Have to respect volume and structure that they build out. It's unfortunate. It just is what it is. You can blame ES and you can blame whoever wrote and reacted to that stupid headline. All right, here's the pop-up. Previous day point of control. So I'm watching this area here. 60 to 76s if they trap buyers and fail. Otherwise, we can keep moving higher. Opening range breakout. Yeah, if you're an orb trader, you could potentially be trading this orb for a higher, but just remember, a zoom out higher time frame, you haven't got much left to aim for. There is not a lot left to aim for upside. But who knows? Check the headlines here. Okay, good rejection there of 75. And we're moving so fast, we're leaving a lot of imbalances across the board right now. What's the auction like at the high? It's not the best. Really is not the best. Yeah, 5-minute time sales, you're right. Again, I just say zoom out if you're trading the opening range. Right, you're buying right in here. I don't want to be a buyer up here. I want to be a seller here. I'd consider being a buyer here, but I don't really want to be a buyer there either, to be honest. I'd much rather be a buyer down here. But we'll see. Like, if they want to keep squeezing, like we talked about at the beginning, I'm not going to fight the tape. Will not fight the tape. Let me just check the breadth this morning. It's amazing, right? Energy's caught a tiny bit of a bid, but the rest of the market looks absolutely terrible out there on the breadth. It looks so bad out there, and we are just going to drift and drift and drift. Probably a very crowded trade. Probably a crowded trade right now. When am I entering? When I see enough buyers caught and not before. Remember, this would be third go at it, so I've got to make sure this one's right after licking a loss earlier. So one very small win, one loss, and then we have to wait. Building a node up here now. How many screens do I have? 4 wide screens and then like one small monitor with you on. Still seeing absorption here into 55s, anywhere from 65 to 55. They keep trying to sell and they're still being absorbed. Sellers are still just passively hanging out above. We're not seeing aggression on the tape. Every time they've had the chance to be aggressive, they will not do it. They didn't do it last week. They're not doing it this week. So they're just sat up there at 300, not moving down, just sat there advertising higher. Here you go. So they're going to come for them. They're going to make it very, very, very hard to trade my setup now based on what they've done today. Very hard. Thank goodness we made some good money last night. The only thing you've got left to aim for now, if you were bullish overnight, by the way, I wouldn't have been bullish this morning, but if you were bullish overnight, is these high volume nodes and previous day value area high. There's nothing left to aim for. I want to be very careful now because we've reclaimed value from Friday. We can rotate in here now. So I'm saying the setup now is not as good as that was because we had the chance for rejection. Now we have to respect Friday. We have to. It's the rules. And that's why they're going to make it very, very hard because now we're inside previous day and previous week. They're not going to make any trade that I was looking for easy now. Okay, buyers starting to step in here at the highs. Let's see. Like I said, they're advertising price higher. Sellers just lifting and moving higher. This is like the opposite of what you'd want to see right now if you were me. If you're me looking for something in these levels. So I wonder if they're just going to keep squeezing and squeezing and squeezing, honestly, at this point. 100 lot seller coming in up here. It's not what you want to see. They can still keep moving higher and higher and higher. There is nothing left to aim for on ES in terms of options. The only thing would be right up at 890s. Honestly, this is quite something that we're seeing here today. And all of the MAG have found a bid here now as well. Tesla now gone green, Microsoft green, Meta just about gone green, Google green, Amazon hasn't, Apple hasn't, Nvidia haven't, but the rest are. All right, into previous day value area high. All right, so this is value from Friday. Like I said, we're now rotating Friday's value, which is why the setup I was looking for is making less and less sense now. We're probably just going to chop and squeeze and grind. And, well, I don't really want to play that. We talked about that this morning. If I don't see what I want, then I'm going to have to leave it alone. So we'll see. And still, these passive sellers just hanging out above. All right, rejection of value. I'm huffing because I'm like, would I consider a rotation? Would I consider a rotation of Friday? Not without a trap, but maybe I'd consider that. But I don't want to fight the tape. I do not want to fight this tape. 100 lot seller at 306s is currently stuck. We need to get under him, and then there's probably a move back to 77s. All right, we're now under him. He needs to stay in the money. That's what I'm talking about. Like, do I consider a rotation here? If they sell 6s or 15s, I'll consider a rotation, but it's really less than ideal. What's the time? News is now out. We'll see. They're going to have to let go of 95s and come back to 80s. And a full rotation would be underneath 65s. Okay, I've got a small piece on. This might be a final trade of the day for me already. If they reclaim this, there's not a lot I can do. But let's see if we can get down to 78s and 80s. And let's see if we let go of that or not. Right back to this seller's price. Right back to my entry. See. So I want to see if we're going to do this. And if we let go of this would just be a rotation, remember, of Friday. Anything above that is a no-go zone. Here we go. You're going to come back down to 80s for me so I can get my stop break even at least. Oh, don't sell these lows, you idiots. You're going to get me fucked again if you're going to do this. You need to follow through. They're piling in here. Well, they better break now because they've come flying in. Okay, here we come. Into the first imbalance at 85. Need to get down to 80s. Here we go. Get through these guys, please. Spy doing a fantastic job of absorbing everything. I'm going to get stopped now again. Oh, happy Monday, they said, Alex. Happy fucking Monday. All right. I might need like a 15-minute break mentally now because I'm clearly can't get what I want. If they just want to rip this higher, I'm not going to fight the tape. So another break even there for me. I called them idiots. I mean, you've got to understand why we're moving higher. It's so that they can get their exit. It's the same as Friday. It's so that they can get their exit. It's not because they're adamant on buying this up. If you think they're buying at the level that we're at on the daily for anything else than an exit, I don't know what to tell you. But timing it is not going to be easy. But I'm sticking to my rules. I'm taking my stops. Just, like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it is what it is. I can have one more go at it if I really want, or I can actually have two, but we'll see. I'm just very, very, very impressed. I mean, if you look at the hourly off a New York Post article, really? This was everything we wanted to see this morning. Really? I might write an article for the, I don't know, Sunday Mirror. Do we just, like, anything that's written now is a headline, is it? I can't do anything about it. Like, I'm trading exactly what I was looking for this morning, so it's all right, folks. Like I said, made my big money last night anyway. I mean, they have literally recirculated that New York Post headline 5 times now. Financial Juice, do you want to have a word with yourself? 5 times they've reposted and recirculated that headline. Breaking 2 minutes ago. No, you broke it 15 minutes ago, you liars. Incredible. Home sales were down again. Funny that. Median price. Home sales down 3.98 million versus 4.06 prior 4.13. Nothing positive there. Surprise, surprise. When's a good time for the short? Well, you're going to need the buyers stuck, and we're not seeing that right now, folks. Like, we have had, this is what you don't want to see, right? These sellers got absorbed in this imbalance, and they're lifting and lifting and lifting and lifting, and maybe they come all the way up here. I don't know, previous day high. What an accomplishment that would be, but you can't sell against this. I've had one go. Right, I tried to play a breakdown around here twice, stopped out, and I've had one go here, and then that's it. I'm not going to fight the tape. We're just in very, very, like, squeezy, grindy kind of mode here. So need to let them get their exit wherever that is. Just like Friday for CPI. They had to get their exit at CPI, and then the waterfall started. They need their exit. I'm surprised they haven't had it yet, but they haven't. VIX holding this 20s is key as well. If VIX starts letting go 20s, we can't think about the short at all today. We just need to be willing to be wrong. Previous week value area high. Yeah, that would be the CPI print, basically, the 393. I mean, it would be seriously impressive. Am I willing to have another go? Let's see. I'm just looking at the hourly. It should rebalance, but this market doesn't feel willing to do much right now. I'm going to come and test these sellers from earlier. 300's the level. There's 115 lots sat there. I'd need to see strong momentum change here to lure me in. I'm not seeing it yet. You could argue for a rejection up there where we've got that 320. But we're just holding and holding and holding and holding and holding and holding. And still these sellers will not walk down. They're lifting and lifting and lifting. So I'm cautious now because it's what? My fourth attempt if I have a go at this? Very cautious now. Honestly, ES has got nothing else to aim for. We are in squeeze levels for the ES. Major squeeze levels for ES. So will the options guys be forced to just buy and buy and buy? There's your gamma. This is the big level. This was the divergence that we had with ES. So the equivalent of that on ES this morning was right down at that 825, which we held, that we talked about. It's the same level. We're starting to reject it now. I'm tempted here to have one more go if we lift and fail. The excess on that high is not great. That's the only thing putting me off. It is not great up there. Right, here's the 300 lot. They're trying to sell through this now. This is where the passive bids start all the way down to 75. So I think if we come around, if we flush here and we reject anywhere from 300 to 325 again, I will consider maybe one more trade. How long have I got left? I've got so long left. In my head, I'm like, it's quite a few attempts at the same trade here, Alex. Look at all these bids. 95 to 75, just full of bids. So bid heavy down here. All right, under 300 down to 75 is just like full of passive bids just sat there. Excess at the high is not the best, like I talked about. It's the only thing I really don't like. We might be at the extreme here where it doesn't have much room for upside. Considering putting something on here. The big level was 75. Remember this next shelf down into here. 15s. What's that low volume? No, 10s. We'll see. See if there's a pop up and if we can get one more attempt, maybe. Don't want to fight the tape. Like the flow zones are very bullish, but we've come into the extreme, and I'm just looking at the hourly scene, thinking we should rebalance, but I'm very conscious, I'll show you, that we've reclaimed this. All right, so remember this morning we were looking to sell that to here. We've reclaimed it. If they hold the top side of this, they can complete this move, which would be a monstrous move off a huge gap down. It really would. Okay. Starting to shift some momentum here. I need pop-ups to fail now. I'm not going to chase it into these levels. I need pops to fail so I can try and move my stop once we get to 75. So I'm watching sort of 300s, pops into 300s. Above that, I'd watch pops into 17s, but really pops into somewhere like 300 to look for a short side. Might have missed it. I missed it. Here we go. So here's the move into 75s. All right, and if they let go of 70s, then we can start filling some of this in all the way back down to here. So this is the node now. So if you are shorting this, you would want this to now do this down into this. Okay, and then the big sell comes underneath all. This is all bullshit. This is all off a fucking headline. Paid yourself, yeah. It's the same trade I've been looking at all day. They just This is one that I'm going to have to remember. Even when there's divergence, we seem to always have to hit this level for NQ, even if SPY's done it and ES has done it. We have to do it on NQ. There's no more demand supply. There is absolutely demand supply, mate. There's absolutely is the way that all markets operate. I mean, it's bullshit because we've moved up off some frothy headline, not a comment by Trump, not a comment by the Middle East, a comment from a journalist from the New York Times, no, New York Post. That's it. A circulated article from the New York Post. All right, let's see. If it doesn't pop up, I'm going to be forced to join lower, and the lower join will be this here. Oh, God. How to be right and wrong all at once. How to be right and wrong all at once. Here we go. Let's see. Let's see. All right, ES coming into New York VWAP. I don't care what you think. I'm sticking to my rules. Thanks very much. It's doing exactly what we wanted. It's just had to come up higher, fill this first. Oh, they're going to make this so fucking hard. Right, need pops up into this node or up here, even if it wants to be really aggressive. We'll watch this node here. Buyers getting stuck here into 75s. If they remain stuck here, I'm going to start selling. Put one on here versus that into VPOC. If they lift here, it's fine. I'm going to give it a bit more room. I'm small, but I'm watching this node here for a rotation back down to 26s. So I've got a piece on now, playing the structure in front of me. Here we go. And big boy sellers getting absorbed here into 60s. Need them to take control and wash under 50s where these bids are, and then we can get the move to 26s. They're still getting absorbed there into 60. It's a good hold. Need a break of 60s, where sellers have come in twice now in the last 30 seconds. There's a passive bid at 60 trying to absorb. We need a break of 60, and then we'll see a flush to 50s, 45s, 35s, and 25s, which is where I'm trying to trade down to. Buyer came in this morning just above 45, so I'd like to see him start to be liquidated. Here we go. There we go. Beautiful. Into some imbalances. We want to move under 47s, all right? We're going to start really moving more aggressively if we can start staying heavy under 47s. And New York VWAP here. We'll see if we lose VWAP if we can come down into this. If you are like short from up here, you can take a TP here. I'm looking to take a TP down into this if possible. Yes, into that same level. So we've got to respect New York VWAP. They might find a bid around here. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Down you come. Get under these VWAPs. As long as they keep rejecting this, I'm going to stay in it. This is where I'm short from. Need to be careful here, but as long as they reject this, I'll sit in it. My stop's the other side of this node. If they reclaim it, they reclaim it. That means they're going to come up for here. I'll probably run out of bullets at that point, to be honest. I'm trying to get this move here if possible. If they reclaim this, this is possible. Would have much rather been short up here, but no real setup for me to take after my first attempt. First attempt up here, I meant. So coming back into this level, if they trade through this node, they're going to come right back the other side, and there's nothing I can do about it. So we're going to need, where do those buyers get caught? Sort of 77s. The very top side of this would be 300s. I don't think I'll give it that much room. Might be one of those days, Alex. It might be one of those days. Sellers defending 85s. Still sat in this for now because there's no print holding above. Small size, folks. Very small size. That 50 level extension on ES is it's amazing that they're absorbing that. There is nothing left for ES to aim for other than 890s, which is incredible that they're willing to absorb 50s here, but there we go. Watching this tape here. Big level here. Big level here. You can see this is what they're trying to defend now. Here we go. Let's see. Still sat in this. They need to have follow through now, or I'm going to have to cut. Here come the sellers. I am absolutely amazed and astonished at the amount of absorption. Wow, at the amount of absorption. I'm out. That's probably me done for the day, folks. I'm probably already out of bullets. The absorption taking place is very, very, very impressive. And if they hold this, option dealers are going to be forced to continue to buy this market, and we can see a gigantic squeeze, which is why I'm not going to have another attempt, I don't think. We'll see, but probably done with it. Sticking to my rules. Is it just Nvidia lifting this? No. Look at the oil price and see. I don't need to look at oil, it's just inverse of this. But I'm watching the higher time frame here, and I'm not willing to buy up here. But like I said, if they flip this, we just talked about it. If they flip this and hold it, I can't fight it. And they are holding this node now, right? We had a chance. They had a chance to sell this back down to here this morning, which is what I was looking for. If they base out here, it becomes very dangerous, right? If they base out here and are willing to hold, it becomes dangerous for this move. And if the options dealers are forced to start buying up, right, and we start having buying pressure in both the options market and the futures market, the equities, then a giant squeeze can happen. Oh my God, what is this? Have you just done me again? The fuck is that? What the fuck is that? How are you supposed to do anything with that? Oh my God. How is anyone supposed to trade this at this point? Do we have something breaking here? I can't see anything. Oh my word. Good luck with that candle. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you've now got multiple timeframes fighting, which is kind of what I'm saying. This grey block, I would have preferred to see this grey block. Remember, this is the previous week big node, right? We were looking to sell under this, but we're now absorbing inside this. It becomes very, very dangerous if they start to base up here for a gigantic squeeze out. Like you've seen today, I've had to lick my wounds and take my losses. So. How do I get previous week node? I measure the previous week. I don't understand that question. Oh, we have a tweet here from Trump. Iran Navy is laying at the bottom of the sea, completely obliterated, 158 ships. What we have not hit in their small number of what they call fast attached ships because we did not consider them much of a threat. Warning, if any of those ships come anywhere close to our blockade, will immediately be eliminated, using the same system of kill that we use against the drug dealers on boats at sea. It is a quick, brutal PS. It is quick and brutal. PS. Who puts PS in a tweet? PS. 98.2% of drugs coming to the US by ocean or sea have been stopped. Thank you for your attention on this matter. Thanks, Donald. How do I take a bias on a day like today? Well, I stuck to my bias. I was wrong. So I was looking to, on the hourly, I'm focused on the hourly, remember? Right, I was looking to sell against these guys here because for me, these are buyers in pain, or they were buyers in pain from last week. So I was looking for pops to sell to then pay myself into this. That was my thesis on this morning. We've reclaimed this. All right, so I'm wrong. My bias is incorrect, or the trade setup no longer exists. We're now absorbing this node here. All right, and if they want to continue to drift higher now, they will. I think that is a ridiculous move to do off. We failed to break here, so that's the bullish move up, but I don't want to be a buyer here. The buys down here should be down here today. If you're going to be a buyer down here, it would need to be down here today for that rotation. There's no way I'm buying up here. I've said that all day. And if they continue to bid and bid and bid, they can just squeeze out and I will just have no position. And that's fine. And I just have to take it on the chin. Today's, well, it's not a red day because I made money overnight, but it's a red morning. They could drop it at market close. I mean, they can drop it any time. Like, we can't predict it. They can do this, they can do that. Magic 8 ball, they'll do this, they'll do that. We don't know what they're going to do. All we can do is develop a system and stick to the system and admit when we've... I don't think I've necessarily made an error. Just it hasn't gone for me. I've managed my risk. I was wrong. Like my system failed today, or what I was looking for failed. It might be that it starts setting up later, but I'm going to be out of bullets. If this, then that. Yeah, exactly. Matt said it perfectly. I think that's what I always say. So if and or situations, right? If we pop at the morning and stay heavy in the grey box, I'm going to look for the fade. Pop, stay heavy, looking for the fade down to here. That's what I look for. News candle comes out. Everyone who was looking for the same thing as me is now trapped. If they didn't stop out, remember I stopped out here when I went to get the coffee. Right, they're now trapped, which is why I said you've got to respect the structure now. All right. Maybe we see this back move here, but because of this now, it makes it much harder. Whereas if they'd just done this earlier, we would have lacked structure. We could have repaired down to here. It doesn't mean we can't still come down to here. But if you are going to be a short seller now today, you must respect this. You have to. You have to. I'll stay with you here, but I am out of bullets early. It would have to be an A+++ trade to really make me want to get back in this now. I'm out of bullets early, and that is just how it is. Why would you? Oh, you mean if you're a seller, TP at 25,200? Well, you've got to respect everything, right? So you've got to respect this node. If you got under this node, you're going to have to respect VWAP. You're going to have to respect the top of this, 230. If you got under 230, maybe you get lucky for a drift down here. But like everything, I can tell you right now, everything is being absorbed on the tape since this candle. Here we look good. Since then, every single thing is being absorbed on the tape. And I am concerned that above here, you will see a gigantic squeeze out. IB to VWAP incoming. You're nowhere near IB yet, though. So lots of you say all this stuff. You're currently between VWAP and IB. There's no setup there for that trade. That's not a setup right now. You would need to be right up here for that to be present. I would say, let's have a look at the excess. Even the excess at the high looks poor. Like, look at all of this. This is not good. This is where all the strong selling's been, but you've just absorbed it. You've just been absorbing everything. When we see this much bid, if they don't take an exit, in this market, it makes me wonder what they know. What do I have open on my screens? ES, SPY, QQQ, VIX, and then everything else is on the Qs. And then I've got my watch list, which is like all the indices, all the metals, oil, crypto, Mag 7, and then anything I'm like swinging. Israel's still bombing. Yeah, no doubt about it. I just can't buy this. But if they're going to hold it, I mean, it is... Do they need to run these out before they do anything else? But at that point for shorts, it's too late. It's too late for sellers. If they let this run out, any pullback can then hold. That is very dangerous for short sellers. They've had the opportunity today to sell this. In my mind, that was the opportunity today for them. They have fluffed that. Maybe they got caught on the news, but they have fluffed it. It's getting volatile. VIX is under 20 now. If VIX stays under 20, this thing can keep moving higher. Again, no position now for me. I've had my goes. I'm out of bullets, folks. I'm out of bullets within the first hour today, unfortunately. What was that long wick down? No idea. If there was no news on it. Someone just stuck, probably. ES up to IB high. So big divergence again. ES already up at IB high. They're starting to base out here. I'm really impressed with that lower time frame momentum being able to absorb the tape today to get them back into that high time frame area. And that probably rebalanced the H1, to be honest. That pullback was right into previous week kind of point of control area. I know it's a bit lower, but they probably rebalanced the H1 just on that tiny little move here, and they might very well set a huge squeeze here today. I really wouldn't surprise me at this rate. The amount of absorption we're seeing on the tape. Market looking for any excuse to rally. I mean, clearly you're right there, but like, rally to where? We're into a very thick higher time frame node. I don't know what the excuse to rally is today. I know what the setup was last night, the failed breakdown, which stopped me out break even on the runners, but I don't know what the excuse to rally is today. My screens seem to be blurred. They're in 4K. It would be your side, not my side, mate. It's not a camera filming the screens. It's OBS, and they're in 4K. Is the timing of news placed strategically? It can be, not always. Definitely can be. ES rejecting IB high. We got nowhere near there. VPOC now moving up. We've got another node developing here. This is going to get harder and harder to trade, especially if we, and I'm not talking about today because obviously I'm done with it, but especially if we stay up here today, if they're able to hold these prints up here, which is impressive. Rotating these two nodes now into the low volume node now. ES back to PDC. Again, you see in the book map above me, it might be hard to see, but see these passive sellers at 310, 315, not moving down. They are not moving down. They just sit and advertise. They don't move down. You need them to move down. Big sellers coming in here now. So potentially have a lower high, but again, we can still hold a bid. This is the big level, this purple dotted line. That's a huge level. If we move under this, there is still a chance of a failure today. I mean, this is, for me, is a fugazi, but I'm out of bullets. But this is still possible, especially if you let go of this. This is still possible, but you have to see if and what and how they're willing to operate at this point. Yes, still absorbing PDC. You think this is manipulation of short sellers? I don't think so. Like, how is this manipulation of short sellers? Short sellers got caught twice, right? The places where the short sellers got caught are people looking for a breakout of the low, right? And people who got trapped in, was it here? The news, right? I don't think anyone's caught up here, mate. This is the area where people will be waiting to see what the reaction is if there's a backside move. I don't think there's a like manipulation of short sellers up here. I think that's farcical. And we're just rotating now in the previous week node, this grey box. We're just rotating, holding that node. So still holding PDC here. Still those sellers stacked up higher. They're not willing to move down. 290 is a big level, gamma-wise. Gamma-wise, delta-wise, sorry. 290s, 265 lot seller, 280s, 214 lot delta, 282, 200 lot delta. Those are all sell side. 280, 185 delta, and 157 delta. That's all sell side. So they've got to move under the 80s for any of these sellers to start getting comfy. They have been piling in here this morning, over here, right? They need to move under all this. If they move under all of these guys, think about this. If they move under all of these sellers will become comfortable. So I'd say basically underneath, 80s and 70s, then you might start seeing sustained pressure. If they're willing to move down, they've got to stop just hanging out up here and start moving down. They need to start absorbing every pop into the ask rather than just staying way up high, which is what they seem to be doing the last few weeks. They don't seem to walk down. Rally to 470. 470. Oh, to take out that high, you mean, from March 5th? Possibly. I wouldn't say today, but you never know. It's not that much higher, I guess, 170 points. Yeah, I mean, but that's what I'm saying. If sellers let buyers do that move, then they've lost all impetus. Because if you think about this, if you're right and there's a rally up here, other than setting a giant bull trap up there, right, if they're going to take out this pivot, what they've then allowed to happen is a reclaim of this. All right, so then buyers can absorb this pullback and continue higher. So I'd say bulls take all strength then at that point. If that's allowed to happen, if they allow that to happen, bulls will hold all the strength on the higher time frame. It would be a big shift. Where we're at now is the big balance range, right? So like if we just talk about this, where we're at now, make sure I've got you on the right chart. All right, this is point of control from the 2024 high. Right, here's the balance range for the last year plus. Right, we're coming to the edge of this. Right, seller's job is to defend this. If they cannot defend that, we find acceptance through, you'd expect buyers to defend that edge and then try and come up back towards the highs. So sellers, it's now or never. They need to get this move probably in the next week or so. Otherwise, the longer we're here, if we trade up and hold above these guys, sellers will be in trouble. Big trouble. So it's on a knife edge at these areas, which is why I'm less interested up here, was more interested down here because sellers had more control down there. Still absorption, still these sellers just sat up at 350. In fact, they're moving higher now. They're so uninterested that they're moving higher now. Wow. Impressive. Really impressive. Really impressive. Just constant absorption from buyers. No sellers present now. They're probably seeing what I've seen, just like, can't fight it. Can't fight it. They're holding everything. Why bother? If we get up to previous week value area high from that failed break of 900 in one session or one day, it is so impressive. And here comes the squeeze. So higher they want. Man, wild. Right, how are we doing for the giveaways here, folks? So red day for me in New York session, green day for me overnight. Nowhere near. Just long, bro. No way. No way. I'm not breaking my rules. Like, you long, you do what you want. I am not longing in premium price in fair value for the last, 18 months? No way. Can go without me. Already said. No chance. All right, remember, we need 1,000 likes to do the Apex giveaway and 1,200 likes, and we'll do a My Funded Futures giveaway. I should remind you on my X, do I have it pinned? I can't remember if I have it pinned, but yes, I'm doing a Lucid giveaway this week. If you go to Flow Zone Trader on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, there's a Lucid giveaway there. Look at this squeeze. I think we're in for a gigantic squeeze at the moment. I think options dealers are going to be forced to buy this market. QQQ coming into that big level of the 12s, same kind of level as up here. If we get through this, there is a fucking squeeze on. And that will really, really, really send this market wonky, because I will not really know what we can do with it the rest of the week. If they can bid up here, I think it's going to get very dangerous to trade. We'll see. What trade did I take last night? I was short the 25,000s. Was it 25,000s? I was short this drive here. Short the backside of this. And then I added this. And then I covered this wash and this wash. And I was holding a runner, break even, hoping that we'd get this collapse, and we didn't. So it knocked my runner out, break even. I think I posted it on my X when it happened. Not when I knocked the runner out, I was asleep, but I posted it on my X. All right, back into this gamma level. Where does the measured move take us? What, the IB measured move? Oh my God, it will be huge. It will be a big one. $420, $440, $500. $420, $440, $500. Can I say what I mean out of bullets? I think I had 4 goes at it today, and I think 3 of those were failures, including break even. So that's don't need to be trading more than that. And now also, remember, my setup was for pops to fail, right? Here and here, ideally here, possibly here, but we're above that now. I'm not going to be long here. It can squeeze all at once. That's not the trade setup I was looking for today. This was the trade setup I was looking for today. This hasn't happened. Maybe it happens later in the day. At the moment, it's hard to see that with the amount of absorption and the inability for sellers to want to defend key levels. So if I've had 4 goes, why would I keep going? Like, I think we had 1 here, small bit of money. 1 here. Was that the loss? Break even. 1 here, loss. And maybe 1 here, break even. So like 2 break evens, 1 small winner, 1 loss, or something like that. I can't keep having stabs at it, all right? Can't keep having stabs at it over and over and over again, unless it becomes A+. Right? Remember, it's like being at a casino, right? You're trying to play your edge. If it's not your day, it's not your day. At the moment, it hasn't been my day. It was my night. I had a really good night, though. There's just so much absorption here. It's really impressive. Rejected the high volume node on the options market again. Some of you are calling for this move up here into 400s. It's possible. If they keep absorbing, it's definitely possible. You still have divergence to ES, which cannot hold a bid above its initial balance, but keeps absorbing at PDC. Like I said, I cannot be long bias in this market, but it's probably what everyone else, well, a lot of other people think, which is why it's crowded. It feels like a crowded short this morning, and that catalyst, this New York Post catalyst killed it. How big is this move? 120. Oh my god. 170 point move. I mean, you'd think that's like a CPI print or a FOMC. 170 point move for New York Posts. Crazy. The market's meant to hurt the majority. Yeah, it's Max Payne. Rule of Max Payne. Rule of Max Payne. Look at Oracle. Yeah, 8.55% up. I can see it. What's my swing up now? Remember, I locked most of that in on the first push. I'm up 10.5%, 11% on Oracle. 10.64% I'm up on Oracle right now. But I don't have much size left. I'm up 19% on Netflix, 10% on Amazon, 50% on AMD, just over 10% on Meta, over 10.5% on Oracle, over 11.5% on iBit. I'm up on my Vanguard, S&P, and that's it. I'm flat on Microsoft. I'm flat on Robinhood. That's it. Those are swings on my swings. Still the hold. Still, look at these passive sellers. Still just advertising higher. No downside pressure right now. ES trapped like we talked about between PDC and IB high. Right, so it's ES is rotating between these 2 points. Back to fair value VPOC again here. What was the... Absorbed again. You stopped up twice. Does that mean reload or put the gun down? That's about your decision, not mine. I don't know. What are your rules? Look at this push off VPOC. Just non-stop. Absorption, 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 absorption. They just want to keep lifting and lifting and lifting. Again, sellers keep just moving up. They are just not coming down in price, and that's not what you want to see if you want to be a short seller. Which is why I'm just like, I'm not interested now. We've now flipped this grey box. Remember this previous week node, we were trying to short down here. We were willing to short here, but now we flipped it, and they are now starting to absorb on it, and they are trying to just lift and lift and lift and lift. And if you fight the tape, you're probably going to get hurt today, because there are not sellers taking control here. We have shifted time frames into bullish. All right, so this is the battle now. All right, think about this move here. All right, that's where we were coming into today. We had the chance for the H1 to do a 2-leg and sell. It hasn't done that. It's shifted and it's absorbing above this node. All right, so if they absorb this, they will keep looking for the higher move. I will not fight the tape and get hurt. The setup was here. It's not here. Flag break. What flag, Troy? I don't know what flag you're looking at. IB high. Look at these sellers above. They just keep moving higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. They've got no interest in trying to absorb price, which means their buyers just offering higher and higher and higher and higher and higher right now. Really impressive. And VIX just rejected 20 and is moving lower. This is, like I said, everything you would not want to see from the setup we had this morning. This looks very dangerous in my mind. Very, very dangerous to just really turn it on here if they want. This node now becomes important. So IB now swept. For those of you who are trying to take the IB trade back inside, that's your IB sweep up here. Again, I'd be very, very cognizant of these levels here now. Look at the CVD divergence. Well, CVD's grinding up exactly the same as price. I'm not sure what you're talking about. And it's just taken out this high, the same as price. So I don't know what you're looking at, but CVD looks pretty good to me, in line with price. There's no divergence. Yes, absorbing. What CVD? Cumulative volume delta. Tyson trade worked again. No, it didn't. We've just come into IB. Where has it worked? We don't trade mid to IB. You trade IB to mid or IB extension. This is not a setup. This is not a setup. That's not a Tyson trade. Oh my days. You don't trade midpoint out. You trade extension in or a trend day out. You do not trade a midpoint out. Oh, you consider this a flag? I would consider this more like an ABCD, right? If you're considering that flag, I would consider this an ABCD kind of pattern, trying to extend. For me, a flag would have just been that, I guess. This is just like a grind and ABCD. But yeah, I get what you mean. And look at these sellers. Higher, 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 higher. No interest. They have no interest in stepping in whatsoever here. 350s, 360s, and they're lifting and lifting and lifting. They cannot be bothered to step in. This is not what you'd want to see. It's why I said I'm not going to fight this tape. This thing can be a real, real crazy one today if they want. Lift and lift and lift. Look at these sellers. I bet you they lift more and just pull. Very dangerous at this point. Very, very dangerous. Crazy. Comes the squeeze, and they're going to want this and then value area high up here. Incredible. Incredible. Not seeing any more news of like any value for this. It's just a gamma squeeze at this point. Big gamma squeeze. And I think it can keep going. Like I said, it looks very dangerous to me. There's no sellers present. They're lift and lift and lift and lift and lift. And they're running out of things to do. There's buyers stepping in here, being a bit aggressive, so there might well be a pullback soon, but this seems very, very, very dangerous to me. Very dangerous. Look, they're still even absorbing 50s. It's amazing. Someone knows something for sure to be willing to do this. Where is a good entry to short? Guys, there's no... I've stopped... Have you noticed how I've stopped talking about the sells? There isn't a good entry to short right now. We have reclaimed the previous week pivot. We are holding. Like, everything has changed since the hold. Once we started breaking 200 and holding above this grey box, everything changed. Everything changed here from a higher time frame perspective. At least in my mind. It would be very, very dangerous now. Very dangerous. So came over that true week high. We'll see now. For me, they've got to get under all of this for it to be valid for like a proper continuation. This is a pullback, not more than. Fucking wild, man. Wild that they held it so high that they did. But there we go. So right into this gamma. The only thing that you could short, if you were adamant now, would need to be the IB rotation. But remember, structure is bullish on all time frames now. As a reminder. As a reminder. What was that drop there in the last few minutes? 60 points. You've left imbalances high. Buyers did... The auction at high day is good. The auction at high day is good. Everything above 50s is good. So as long as you, if you're looking for that IB rotation, you'd want 33s to 50s to fail. You would not want to print above 50s. ES, though, you have divergence, is holding its initial balance, right? ES is holding its IB. So here's the retap into value area high IB. All the way up to 50s can be printed. So if you were short now for IB, you'd now need to see the breakdown coming. And you'd want ES to let go of its IB, which it is not doing currently. And you'd really want VIX to start reclaiming 20s. There's your IB tap. You need to move under 20s. And you'd be looking for covers. If you're adamant on this now for the lower high, you'd be looking for covers into these. All right, so if you're playing the IB, look above and fail. These are your moves. Hopefully you get it. And again, I'm out of bullets, but this is the first legit setup I've seen since clearing out and holding. Any reclaim of 50s, this thing will go higher. So you want 50s to reject. And really, I don't know if you'd even be willing. What would that be? 20-point stop on the IB if you were going to take that. Let me just close these curtains. Not time short yet. Well, it's a legit short on the initial balance, mean reversion trade. It is a legit trade. It's a legit trade, and there's excess at the high. It's a legit trade. Whether they have follow through on it or not is different, but it is a legit setup. Lots of bids down, all the way down into 300. If you start breaking below VPOC between 95, then you've got more chance of continuation down to here. So this level here would be important, right? This here, if you break under this, then you get that VWAP. Where's the 24-hour? Way down here, way down there. Remember, you're bullish overall. Everything above this grey box, higher time frame, is very, very bullish. You want to be careful. This is why it matters down into VPOC. Win or loss, you're taking it. Well, that's it. If it's a setup for you, if you're trading the IB today, if that's your setup, you need to be taking it because it's a legit setup. You have to take the setups when they're there, win or loss. That's the rule. Because if you don't take it and you're like, oh, I would have won that one, your data's going to be skewed. Every time your setup is there, you need to trade your setup. I traded my setups today. I lost. I gave money back today. Oh my God. I'm going to stop reading chat. I don't care what you think. I'm saying if it's your setup, you trade it. If your setup's long here, you take your long. But let people trade their setup. If they're trading the IB back in, which is starting to work out, that's their setup. All right? Just because you're long doesn't mean you're right. Just because it's their setup doesn't mean they're right. You trade your setup. All right, so there's a little imbalance here into the 304s. Lots of bids down to 300. I'd say break under 94s, and then you can start getting going. All right, basically these. ES now under its IB and rejecting it. So that's better. And if ES gets under PDC, you get that VWAP move. I'm having to ignore chat. Some of you are being a bit silly right now. Here you go. So hopefully you get 94s and a break under, and then you can look for VWAP, previous day point of control. And you need to be taking a good chunk off there if you're trading the IB. Sellers up at 350, but it doesn't matter. The buyers got caught. It's the first time we've seen a good auction at the high. All right, this is the first time we've seen this. Remember, all morning it was all selling at the high. It's not what you want to see. This is the first time we've seen buyers at the high. Remember, I said 350 is the level that you want to defend. All right, so if I was short IB, I'd be willing to risk 350, 20 points. All right, for these imbalances, I wouldn't want it to hold 350 because then I think we'd make a new high. So if I was short, I'm out of bullets, so I'm nothing. If I was short 33s, I'd be looking for my stop around 50s to use that as a protection. Right, and while you figure all that out, I'm going to use the bathroom real quick, and then we'll come back. And let's see, do we have 1,000 likes yet to do a giveaway? Not yet, nowhere near. So we need like another 300 and something likes, and we'll do the Apex giveaway, folks. All right, and I'll be right back. That's a good rejection there. Looks good. Looks good. Hopefully you get downside follow through now. It's not going to squeeze. I mean, I'd say we've already squeezed, but if it got above this was a mega squeeze on. This was your call wall. Right? If it got above this is on for this, and I'm not going to rule that out. But right now, most people, the setup they're playing is probably the IB. pressure down, mean reversion kind of trade. Nothing for me. I'm out of bullets. Would I short under 300? No, you're a bit low there in the day to short. If you're not playing this mean reversion in, all right, if you're not playing this in to here, you'd need to really wait for this to let go here for that, and that might not happen, right? Because order flow is doing this, and remember, this is the previous week high volume node, and we are holding above it right now, which is why I'm saying at best you've got a mean reversion. But if we look at the higher time frames, which is why I keep saying to you, for me, very hard to validate much now. If we look at the higher time frames, look, this is previous week, so that you understand. This is the importance of understanding higher time frame, right? Failed breakout last night. Chance was to reject this here this morning. That was what I was looking for. A rejection of this for a 100-point trade back into this node, and then runners in case we broke. We haven't seen that. What we've seen is the opposite, is a squeeze up and now holding over this node. That is very bullish, higher time frame. All right, if they build liquidity out here and hold it, they can set this move. They can absolutely set that move. Well, for me now, I can't fight the tape. My thesis was not to be short up here. It was short here for this move here, not up here. Doesn't mean it doesn't work, but that's not my trade that I'm looking for. So I keep trying to explain to you, a lot of you guys, like, you need a trade plan and you need to stick to that trade plan, right? Not, oh, that's someone else's trade plan, I'm going to flip to that trade plan now, even though I don't trade that setup, right? That's not a plan. That's just like asking and hoping and clicking through and hoping you get something. 90 and 20, 9 and 20 are bullish. Yeah, I mean, flow zones are bullish. Like I talked about, lower time frames bullish. We're holding above this. This is a mean reversion trade. This is not about bullish or bearish order flow. This is just a mean reversion trade if they take that. If you're trading IB every day, it's this or it's extension, right? That's just a setup. It's a setup. And squeeze is on. Remember, if they break above this, I think there's a big squeeze on if they break above it, honestly. It's amazing the bids flying in here. Yeah, software's caught a bid this morning. If you look at like PayPal, even Bull catching a bid on fives this morning. Those high gamma names, not really. IREN, healthcare's okay. Where's Netflix? Netflix flat. Nothing there. So this is moved back to test the 50s. Remember, break of 50s, I think there's a good chance of a new high because the buyers came in at 50s and at 58s. So I think there's a good chance of a new high if you start basing above 50s. And I think these are the squeeze out levels if they're going to go for it. This is previous day high and previous week value area high. Again, no position for me. Alex, can you show VPOC as compared to on that chart? What do you mean? VPOC's here right now, this line here, 317. I have it, yeah, it's the same, 317. 317. So you can see we tapped into 50s. 50s is where that buyer got stuck earlier. Right, it's where the 100 lots, that's why I said my out would be on a hold above 50s. We've tapped into 50s, filled the imbalances. You need this to see move lower and lower quickly now. So you're trading from this imbalance to these imbalances currently. But 50s was where the buyer started to get stuck. This is the IB. You need to get moved back below the IB now. Otherwise, I'd start cutting those shorts. If they start printing and holding the IBs, I would not be wanting to sit in this. If I was you, that is. But, you know, you do what you do. Well, I don't know where you long from. saying, can I give commentary on the order flow for people who are long? Well, if you can't get above 50s, you're in trouble. But I don't know where you're long from. I don't know where you're long from, my friend. You'd have to tell me where you're long from and what you're looking for. New York Post reporter clarifies proposal centered on Iran giving up its nuclear program that we knew from JD Vance on Sunday. Still a chance that Iran could accept that point. None of this is new. Yeah, so basically you fabricated the whole fucking thing, New York Post. You made a load of bullshit up and printed it so that someone paid you to do that so they could get a squeeze out on their exit. Surprise, surprise. Welcome to the game. I tell you what, I watched last night, which was quite good. Has anyone watched obviously the Untold series are always good, but the new chess one, Chessmate or whatever it's called? Alex, is your volume profile indicator on TradingView or NinjaTrader? Well, you're looking at TradingView, aren't you? So it's on TradingView, right? This is TradingView that you're currently looking at. This is TradingView, but I have it on both. Bearish divergence. Let me have a look at the high. Still looks pretty much in line to me. Not seeing divergence. That last one was a lower high, lower high. Still not seeing divergence really on the CVD. The order flow? No, it's NinjaTrader. NinjaTrader. Right, so good rejection of 50. You would need to see sustained sell pressure now and a breakdown under VPOC and to start moving lower for you guys to be comfortable. Hand of God, you need to read up. All my settings are printed by Nightbot. Just scroll up. Shorts, it's the same setup, guys. Nothing's changed. It's this setup here. Your out is the 50s where the buyer's stuck. Any print that holds above that, that's a re-squeeze. That's all that's available for the short. But you are fighting against higher time frame right now. Just remember that. So your short is a mean reversion at best. It's not more than that. It's not a pro trend anymore. It was pro trend this morning. All right. It was a pro trend short setup here. That was a pro trend short setup. This is no longer a pro trend short setup. This is a mean reversion setup if you're looking for a short. It's not pro trend until we start letting go. And this market doesn't look like it's going to let go of 200s right now. But we can talk about pro trend under 200s. But right now, the short setup is a mean reversion back to VWAP. It's nothing's changed. You have not reclaimed 50s and held. It's the same setup. You need VIX to get back over the 20s. I'll give you a little readout on a mag. Okay, Tesla's 1/3% up, Nvidia 0.42% up, Microsoft catching a bid, right, 2.07% up this morning. Meta down just over 0.5% or 2/3% down. Google 1/3% up, Amazon 1/3% down, Apple 1.24% down. So complete mixed bag between hardware and software right now. Hardware caught a bid last week. It looks like software's caught a little bit of a bid this morning. Well, Oracle's caught a massive bid this morning. Was there specific news on Oracle? Yep. What's this? You going to tell me the news trading view, or are you just going to be broken? You're not going to tell me the news. Great. Fantastic. Okay, well, there is news. I just can't see it. Okay, here's VPOC now. It's 20 level. Partnership expansion with Selenis. Okay. Wonder if we get a weekly model this week with a failed look above Tuesday, Wednesday. If we can print in a hold up here, it's the only thing I would then consider Wednesday, Thursday, Friday backside. We've got a big week of news this week. Huge. PPI tomorrow. Fed talk Wednesday. Beige book Wednesday. Jobless claims Thursday. And then on top of that, arguably even more important, is the earnings this week, which start into tomorrow. So the banks tomorrow, JP Morgan tomorrow, BlackRock tomorrow, Citi tomorrow, J&J tomorrow, Wells Fargo tomorrow. And then Wednesday, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America. Thursday morning would be important. TSMC for chips, see how they go. Charles Schwab in the morning as well. BNY in the morning as well. And then Netflix at the close. And Friday more. So a lot of bank news this week. Obviously, that was all in the weekly newsletter. And I'd say more than just the earnings will be the guidance. The guidance is going to be so important this week of what they think. So key. Basing out here. What a shit start to the week. I am very thankful I made my money last night. I gave a little bit back this morning off those highs. Feels like they're just trying to set it for another level here, holding that 20s again. Last night, yeah, I made my money last night. I can show you. Right here. So we had this gap down. And I started fading here just above 25,000. 2 on. And then I took some off and then re-added in. And then I set the runners, looking for this move all the way down, and stopped out break even in the runner. Still holding IB. Still not seeing momentum shift and breakdown here. Can I analyze the bookmap? What do you mean? You need to get under this VPOC, man. For all of you guys who are playing the IB trade, you need to see it let go of this VPOC. Right, trend is holding. It's held almost. This killed it. You've got to understand this newsprint here. I think lots of people were the same side as me, looking for this trade down. This killed it. This caught everyone off guard, and the fact that we've held that twice means that that's very strong right now. You need a breakdown under here just to get that move here. And you can see value area low now is right on this level where shorts are caught. And if you don't see this, I'd almost have a time stop on this. If you don't see this soon and they keep absorbing this level here, this drift can happen. It can happen. Again, I'm out of bullets. I was out of bullets here, I think. Very early. Is my indicator on NinjaTrader for the big trades? It's not my indicator. It's an order flow indicator. You can get it. It's for free. You can get a free version of it from Ninja Trader. There's a video on my YouTube on how to do that. It's completely free, especially if you trade with prop firms like Lucid. Order flow is free on Ninja Trader. All right, back down to this VPOC again. Hopefully they break down under this for you and you can start seeing some kind of follow through for some form of mean reversion. So here's VPOC. Remember, you need to see follow through. And if you haven't covered some and you want to scalp, you can, but I'd be looking for this move into here for you guys who are mean reversion back down to here. If you find acceptance underneath 70s, then we can think about this move into this, but 70s is kind of your target. Ideally down into here for you guys. We rejected 50s, we're under IB, you need the move under here. Again, I'm done for the day, so I can only call out what I'm seeing. Oh, what one I'm using? Yeah, it's called Cidi by, what's the company called? I always forget it. I have to find it every bloody time. Twin Peaks. Did I announce the Rapid account winner? Yes, I did. I did. If you check the Twitter, I replied to them on Twitter. They've won it already. The only thing left now, I started a new one last week or over the weekend for Lucid. I'll post it in chat. How do I share this with you guys? Yeah, so you can win a Lucid account there. I just posted it. You have to like it, follow it, repost it, and tag a friend. Tag a friend in the comments. Still holding pretty well here. I think there's a flush coming soon for that mean reversion, just to clean out the liquidity. But you want to watch ES into PDC. They're still holding it. I think you will get this move down into sort of 90s, and hopefully you get the 70s soon. I think you're going to clean these guys out, and hopefully that stop run will give you them enough of a move down into this pool that you can cover. For those of you who are in the IB short, maybe some of you were willing to take the 50s, but this short here, hopefully you get this move soon. But yeah, if you don't get it soon, I'd be slightly concerned, because this is the first time where they've had the ability really to break down. They've rejected 50s, they're under the IB, you're starting to see that shift and that pullback. Remember, it's a mean reversion, it is not a pro trend now. You're not in a pro trend short. It's very different setup now to what you had this morning, and you're coming back into this pool of shorts from here. So you want to be careful. If these guys start covering, you want to be very careful, because you're into their size, right? Hopefully you can see that. You're into these guys' size. VIX is almost at 20, yeah, but it's got to get above it and hold above it. It's a big level. Twin Peaks, yeah, it's the program I'm using. We have a flow zone version of it on the way. We're working hard on it at the moment. I'm testing it in the afternoons currently. You heard me talk previously about watching buyers or sellers walk down the tape. How does that work? Okay, let me show you. There's my bookmap. Okay, so if we zoom out here, all right, we would like to see, come on, Bookmap. Fuck me, whole thing's frozen. All right, these sellers up here who are sat at 65, who absorbed the tape as we came up, we would like to see these guys start to move down. So we've had one lot move to 50. We'd like to see all these sellers start to come and try and join if you were short around these 340s, 350s, because we don't want them to allow us squeeze back up to fill. We want them to put walls in here to start walking price down. What we had earlier in the day is every time we came up, they were lifting and going higher, lifting and going higher, lifting and going higher, which means they didn't really want to absorb price. And when I see that, it's more likely that they're a buyer on the tape trying to make more money higher, right? Rather than a seller on the tape saying, no more, no more, we're not going higher. All right, this is the chance now. So if you can run these stops under the 300s, hopefully you get your move for the mean reversion. Here's 300s. Hopefully you run these stops, and just an extension down here would be great if you can get it, hopefully. No worries, Percy. Thanks for that. So a little imbalance here. Remember, this is where the sellers came in this morning. A little imbalance here. Once you flush through this, you should get a bit more of a mean reversion. But this is a big level here. This is where the sellers got caught, which is why you've got an imbalance here, because they stopped out on that rip. Under this would be nice for you guys who are short versus IB. Here's a 300 check. And you'd want to watch top of this grey box. You need to be paying yourself some. Top of grey box to VWAP. That has to be an exit for you guys. Not a full exit, but an exit. Here you go. So here's to the top of the grey box. You want to be paying yourself top of the grey box in towards the VWAP and previous day point of control. So I'd say like maybe 60% or something. Pay yourself into this, all right? For you guys who are short here with your stop here, you must pay yourself into this. If you find acceptance on that, then you can hold the runner for this move down into these. But right now, you have to pay yourself into the top of this grey box to VWAP. This is your covering area. And the reason I'm saying that is because of the weekly pivot, right? It is all about this. This is the battle right now. It is this guy here. This is the battle right now. All right, if higher time frame bulls are like, all right, we're going to set an H1 flag. This is the pullback. We're going to hold this, and we're going to complete this move here for expansion. This is why this is now a mean reversion trade, and you need to be paying yourself into that. Right. The difference was this morning, it was a pro trend trade where we were in a rotation between two nodes, and I was looking for this trade to here. And if we got under this, great. But this was the main trade I was looking for. That's changed. Market's changed now. So I'm not fighting the tape. I'm out of bullets anyway. But just so you understand, like, what the importance of understanding the higher time frame is so key. No one's really looking at a 1 minute chart. They're looking at like the higher time frame levels, and they might be trading on lower time frame, but they need to be looking up. Classic balance day, yeah, I'd say right now it is. We're inside IB. We're inside value. We're inside previous week's value. But we are above previous. Oh no, we're inside previous day as well. Yeah. Yeah, you're spot on, mate. You are spot on right now. On Apex, can you trade directly on TradingView? Yes. You will need to get the Tradeify data, CQG or whatever it's called, and you can trade on TradingView. Should I hold shorts from 320? You're short from 320. Short from, that's quite late. That's quite late to be short. Well, you're about to be break even. You tell me. And like, I don't know what your strategy is. What's your strategy there? Are you risking IB? If you're risking IB, then you need to risk IB. You don't want to be risking 320 if you're supposed to be risking IB. I don't know what your strategy is, what you're trying to do. I am pretty astonished with this, I'll be honest. I am pretty astonished. That is insane. And that hold there was key. Mad. That is mad. Like nothing. Wow. Astonished. Market's gone to sleep now. How are we doing on the lights, by the way? Can we do a giveaway yet? Are we there? Still not there. At least 1,000 of you haven't hit like. Just smash the like button, folks. Get to 1,000, we'll do a giveaway. What do I copy trade on info? I use affordable indicators for copy trading. I don't have it down below. I'll post it. Hang on. There you go. This is the copier I use. Still seeing absorption down there. Incredible. Incredible. Squeezing. Back to the 50s. They're testing that buyer that got caught at 50s we talked about. This is big buy side. Like, this feels very crowded to me, which is why I'm concerned. Iran lawmaker on Energy Committee proposed parliamentary bill on security of the Strait of Hormuz could change transit regulations in the Persian Gulf. It's just such a headline-driven market right now. It would be nice if we had some certainty come into the market so we can start like developing some cleaner trade setups. Short now? I wouldn't be short now. No. You came to the top of the grey box. You've reclaimed initial balance. You rejected 50, but it's too for me. It's too dangerous. I think it feels like a very crowded trade, and the pro trend now is arguably up, and that's what feels dangerous to me. Hourly candle hasn't made a top wick yet, exactly, and it might want to come for those previous week value area highs. It's possible. The auction at the high has been pretty good though. Like, this is not a bad auction, and 50s and 58s are stuck. It's not the worst auction at the high. It's a pretty good auction at the high. So I wouldn't say it needs to print a new high. That's pretty good up there. But if it did, this is the target. And like I said, the hold of this grey box is pretty telling at the moment. It's pretty telling. I don't think there's a whole lot of edge short side in the market at the moment. Like, it feels very, very, very dangerous right now. Oracle now 9.15% up. All these names are lifting. It's nice to see my long-term accounts doing really well. I make most of my money. Why do we have 1,000 people who are not liking the live? I don't know. They don't want a free Apex account. Maybe because I got it wrong this morning. People get upset. I mean, we had a killer Friday and we had a killer overnight move. And we were positioned really well this morning. How much were we up on this move? Like 50, 60 points to get run out when I went to get a coffee or use the bathroom, whatever I did there. Here's what it is. Why am I not 100% right? I know. At least I'm honest, though. I'm honest, and like, I've run out of bullets. So I've said it. I'm not going to give. There's no way I'm giving my whole overnight back. Like, I can. I'm up on 1, 2, 3 Lucid accounts and my 2 big PA accounts, which is what I'm trading with size on. But these are the PA accounts that I care about the most right now. These ones. This is what I took payouts on last week. I'm trying to really like gun for these. These are legacy accounts. So I'm trying. These are my legacy accounts left. I'm trying to like rebuild these back up and see if we can get to payout 6 and take all these out, all this money out. So I took payouts from both of these in the last week. This is what I'm trying to do. See if we can get these, I don't know. See if we can get up to like 30k profit for payout 6 and take 60k out of it or something. Maybe I get more than that, but I normally get to about 20 to 30k on the 50k legacies and then exit. Alex, will Lucid be giving you box codes? What's a box code, my friend? Sorry, maybe I've missed that. My code for Lucid is FCT. Get you 40% off. I don't know what a box code is. Do I usually use 50k accounts? In the legacies, yeah. Obviously, you can't buy those anymore. But in the legacies, yeah. The new cases. I don't think I get... I don't get anything to give you with those, do I? If I missed that with Lucid... Have a secret key, enter to unlock a Lucid case. I don't know what that means. Oh, they said they'd send them out to affiliates. Well, I'm sure I get them. Right now, it's payout schedule for Lucid for affiliates. So they normally don't do anything in this time period. Oh, soon, yeah. It's probably once they get through the payouts, they'll probably start doing it. How many trades would I recommend to a beginner take per day? 3 to 5, 5 max. 3 to 5 max, and with one setup. If you're a beginner, just one setup. Focus on one setup first. I mean, if you took the opening range trade today, you had a look below and fail, and you had an orb high. So you would have lost this, and you would have won that, and maybe this dip here. So you would have taken one small loss and one big win if that was your opening range. If you're an initial balance trader today, the only trade would have been here, really risking 50s, and the best cover you've got is there. There's not much to trade with there. Other than that, I don't think there's an easy setup here. I'm really impressed they held this. I am really, really, really impressed that they held this. Really impressed. But we're above the VWAPs. We're in an upcycle trend now, and we're above the H1 key levels. So I really would struggle to be thinking short now. What do I think about the Arsenal bottling the league? I think it's fucking typical of us. I think it's a joke, mate. I said it on X. I think I said it last week and the week before. This is my issue with Arteta's decisions, all right? When you are in cup final, if anyone's played sport, you will understand the importance of momentum and confidence. When you are in cup finals and semi-finals, you need to put your best team out and win. Because had we won the Carabao Cup and put a good team out, right, we wouldn't be in this position. But you start losing big games. They might want to say they're not a big game and big trophy all they want, but you start losing big games, you start rattling the confidence in the room. Right, Saints support here. Well, you did us well, didn't you? It was a great performance from you guys. You start rattling the confidence, and then this is what starts to happen. You get wonky. So I think they've only got themselves to blame, to be honest. I think the management have to step up. Like, yeah, some of the players haven't played well enough, but I think the management have to have a real hard look at that. You were on for the quad. You fluffed it. You fluffed your lines. It's a very slippery slope. I've been part of it. I mean, I don't know if any of you have been playing sport. I was a pretty decent rugby player in my time. I remember being in like a quarterfinal of Roslyn Park. And to get us in the... This is a good example. To get us in the quarterfinal, I hit 2 massive conversions from the sidelines that got us the win. And in the quarters, I missed 2 in front of the posts. I tell you what, the rest of my season went to shit. It went to fucking shit. I could not, for the life of me, get over that. Yeah, 7s, exactly. That was a long time ago. All right, how are we doing? Have you guys are saying giveaways? Have we got the likes up yet? It must be if you guys are saying, oh, you are. Okay, let me... Did I watch Masters? Yep, I did. Happy for Rory. Buzzing for him. I know a lot of you would be unhappy about that. I'm buzzing for him. Back to back. Happy days, man. Happy days. Loose prop here, and you're so right. I want a scrum. Next one, I'm coming in confidence high anyway. Yeah, exactly. I don't know how you do that, mate. Fair play to you. Fair play to you. Do you still play as a Lucy? All right. Yep, you guys are already doing it. I just said it. FCT, just type it once. Please don't spam it. Just type it once. And we give away a free Apex account. I'll do a free course giveaway as well for the introduction course. If we get to 1,200, we'll do a My Funded Futures giveaway as well afterwards. We've still got 10 minutes left to do that. What a shitty read I've had on it today. What a shitty read. $20 so key on a VIX, just stuck there. Softy, Oracle, Palantir, INTC. Is that CRM? What's leading up there? INTC, CRM, INTU. Yeah, so all the software caught a bid. All of software's caught a good bid. Assets have caught a bid. Energy's doing all right. Consumer defense is down, so we're coming out of low risk, going back into rotation from defense to software by the looks of it. We'll see. Can they sustain the bid this week? We'll see. I'm not gonna add on any swing accounts unless I see like some major macro shift. Very, very concerned to add on anymore. All right, give you guys 30 more seconds and we'll pull this winner. If you've already typed it once, that's all you need to do. Don't need to type it multiple times. I would argue I fighted my system a little bit today up here. I might review this today. Might have to review that. Once that came in, I probably should have left all shorts alone. Thinking about this. All right. Hopefully you get the breakdown here for you guys. So let's pull this winner. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. At Charting. Great name. Are you here, Charting? Let me know you're here, Charting. Nice. Congrats, man. All right. Just send me an email, info@flowzonetrader.com. I've made a note of your name. I just need a screenshot of you logged into your YouTube, and I will sort you out a free Apex account, any size, any type you want. I'll send you a code. Congratulations. So info@flowzonetrader.com. Let's give away the introduction course. Good for people who've never traded before, never invested. Just type course once in chat. We give that away as well. Alex, I got moved to a Pro Plus account on TPT and I've yet to take a payout. Is that normal? What do you mean yet to take it? You mean you've put in for one and haven't got it? Or you got moved from a Pro account to a Pro Plus account and you hadn't taken a payout? If you did that, it means you hit your max winner in a day. So normally it's around 10 grand. If you make 10K in an account in one day, they'll move you from a Pro to a Pro Plus account no matter what's happened, even if it's on your first day. How do I get my gamma levels? I pay for them from a company called Tanuki. And I pay for this. And it's not cheap. Hopefully it helps you guys. Any side Apex gets moved over to... No, Apex doesn't get moved. We're talking about Take Profit Trader. Someone got moved live today on Take Profit Trader. They were asking why, because they hadn't taken a payout. And I was saying it's probably because they hit their max profit for one go. I'm going to give you guys 10 more seconds and we'll pull the course winner. All right, here we go, folks. Pull this winner. Where's the button? There it is. All right, Titleist. Titleist. Are you here, Titleist? going to assume you're a golfer. Nice. All right, same thing for you, mate. info@flowzonetrader.com. Shoot me that email. I'll sort you out with an introduction course to trading. Market's gone to sleep here. It's completely gone to sleep. Not 6 minutes left. Today was a prime example not to force a trade against the market is doing, even if it's against your idea. Yeah, I agree. I don't feel like I forced it. I feel like this was my setup. All right, I can show you what we talked about this morning. All right, this was the setup that I was looking for. All right, so a drive in to this grey box and a failure for a trade down. If we hold the grey box, we can start rotating and reclaiming. If we stay inside, we do this wash. All right, so I was looking for this. Once we saw this, I ignored it. I didn't want to trade that. So I feel like it made sense. Here's the grey box. I think I don't know if I had 1 or 2 attempts in here. It might have been 2 attempts in there because I think I got stopped out on that first one, right? So I think I had, if I reviewed this, I think I had a go around here, stopped out. I think I had another go here, went to the bathroom, was comfortably in the money, letting it work, stopped out. And I think I might have had, was it around here? I'm not sure. I think I was forced to join late on this and I didn't like it. I think I was forced to join around here on this node from memory and stopped out. I think there might have been one more because I think I had 4 goes. So it was within the thesis all the time we're under the grey box, right? I was looking for that. Once we reclaimed it, I stopped trading. Plus I'd run out of goes, but I stopped trading, right? So I don't feel like I forced it, but I would agree with you. The momentum shift, all right, once we reclaim this, the flow zones have printed and held and the lower time frame. Once we reclaim this, it was good night for pro trend shorts. At which levels you put alerts, potential trades later today? VWAP? It depends if we're going to stay in rotation. Right, value's here. At the moment, feels like we're rotating value. All right. If we lose value, I'd be watching these levels here. If we stay heavy then under the grey box, I'd go back to that thesis of maybe coming back down into this. But I wouldn't be surprised if they save that for tomorrow. I don't think we'll do that today, but you never know. Headlines, as we know, like one tiny headline from an unimportant source can change anything. Who's to say we don't get a headline here saying, I don't know, let's imagine the blockades have stopped, have started, blah, 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 blah. Iran's responded and, I don't know, attacked something. Okay, ceasefire over, this can happen. Literally anything is possible right now. We are inside previous day, we're inside previous week, we're inside all of value. We're inside previous day value, previous week value, current day value, current week value. Anything is currently possible now. We're not at an edge. Any scope for overnight swing puts on QQQ SPY? I mean, you have to see where we close, but your cool wall level for your puts are literally the whole numbers. 13's the biggest, right? Then 15, then 14. Your whole high volume node and your your high volume node is what? Is it 12s? Mate, they've pinned it. They're going to make it really hard. They're going to make it really hard. Alex, what do you like to risk when trading a 50k account? Just curious if you put your stop loss like 150, 250. So yeah, I don't like risking more than 350 in those 50k accounts when I'm starting to build them out for my first position. That's more than enough. So it's then about how do I size to risk that much? Sometimes I'll be willing to risk more, but it's like my first position on, I don't really want to lose more than 350 and a 50k on my first position on. I don't mind starting to add in. So like, had this worked, let's say I was short here, willing to risk 350 here, and this started to work and we start to reject, I might add some more on here, and maybe then, you know, I don't need to risk more than that because I'm not risking more on my stop, still comfortable. As I grow those 350 account, those 50k accounts, remember those 50k accounts are like well into the money now. We're talking like between $9,000 and $16,000 into the money. Obviously, I'm not risking $350 on those positions now. I'm risking much, much more. But the new accounts you need to be careful on because you can only lose, if you're talking about Apex, 1,000 a day. So 350, three stop outs on that, and you're gone for the day. You're gone for the day. Any tips on reading heat map? I mean, probably too much that I could do in here. There's a whole course on it on my website if you want to learn how to read heat map and bookmap. Late session going to have a big move. What you mean late afternoon? Or you mean overnight? I think overnight will have a move. Should beginners trade 3 to 5 NQs? No, MNQ. You should be on MNQ. 3 to 5 minis in this market, and you're either very rich or very effed very quickly. Starting to see a rejection of this. Hopefully those who are in it get this move here. I don't think it's going to go up. I mean, you're starting to lose the bid. You're starting to come down in. But you can see the bid at 75, 122. Remember, we're looking for this trade into here for you guys versus IB. Maybe some of you finally get it. It is nasty that they had to come and test that 50 twice. But remember, that's where the buyers are stuck. Like I said, the auction at the high looks pretty good. The auction at the high is pretty good up here. You came and tested it twice, but let's see. Let's see. You're into lunch now as well, folks. So grey box been tagged again. So I'll be exiting a good chunk. If you've had another go of that at that, I'll be exiting a good chunk here and then just holding on to see if it wants to give you a backside move. But again, the pivot has changed now. 6 micros got me 1K last night. Yeah, exactly. Minis will ruin your life if you don't have the account size to trade them, folks. ES never hit its CPI high. Yeah, you're right. It didn't. But I mean, we've just set another lower high on ES so far on the higher time frame there. Right, ES has now hit New York VWAP up. You're coming into it. Maybe this IB finally starting to play out for you guys. Finally starting to play out for you guys. Into PDC. And if they start to rotate and let go of this, it could be fun for you, for the runners. But you want to be paying yourself a chunk into here. I'll get going as soon as this is finished, this trade for you. So 75, they've got 126 lots stacked up there. You want to pay yourself a chunk into here, and then you can just hold in case you get acceptance lower, but I would not be betting on it. I would be paying myself for this move right now if I was you. Just got my 60k payout approved. Appreciate you. Nice work, man. Great work. Happy days. TP1 at 280. I mean, like I said, TP1 is here. It's anywhere in here. TP1 is in this zone, right? TP2 here, TP3 here and here. All right, and then under that, you'd probably get a collapse. But I would doubt we'll move under this today. But if we did, this would be the original move I was looking for. I would actually prefer now, I'm not going to draw it out fully for the weekly model, but I'd rather we hold in here today because it can set something up better for tomorrow. And you can stay short on this all the time you're under sort of 310s. Let me just check liquidity there. Yeah, 315. Sellers came in at 306, 308. So you want to stay heavy under that, ideally. You should have paid yourself a good chunk here. Yeah, VIX, I mean, it's over 20, but it's only at 20.03. So barely. It's barely there. Remember, they've still got the guy at 75, but if you're short in this, you don't want it back over 310, 315, right? If you're short at IB or anywhere up there, you don't want it back over any of those. ES, you're watching that 350 ES as well. A 350, 850 ES. If it lets go of 850, we can come back down into those 46s and then the 40s. So it looks good. All right, so here's your TP. You've got to be paying yourself something here if you haven't already. You have to be. And then you're just going to hold now and see if they find acceptance under all of this. But I would be paying myself a good chunk here because there's just as much chance that they're like, let's hold this weekly pivot and pivot back up. Half off? Yeah, half off is good. I'd probably take even more personally, but half off is good. And then, you know, if you're going to see continuation, you need some form of build out here. You want to watch this node here, down into this and under that. We're thin, and you can think about value area low for the day. But, you know. The fuck is that? Oh. Oh, you just got to laugh, man. We come into the pivot and... I want to say, you got to cover into that. Oh my God, what a hold. What a hold. Was there news with that or not? White House economy report. Ober tax plan seen lifting GDP to 4.9%. What's that based on? What hyperbole is that based on? A Diddy candle. What? Why is it Diddy? Because it's slippery. Because it's slippery. You're still not over the 50s though. Buys are still caught up here. They've just made this very, very hard for you guys. Crazy market, man. Crazy market. Very hard to manage that. Like I said, that's why you have to respect the levels. We're just trading level to level, and that's so quick. That is so quick. Rewap balance, yeah, it's lots of things. Look, it's PDC, it's Gamma, it's VWAP, and it's the top of the previous week level, right? It's lots of things and news. It's lots of things. Thank God for hard stops. Yeah, that's what I always say to you guys. You got to use hard stops. Remember, I used a hard stop in here, right? I was short somewhere in here. Went to the bathroom, came back, and we're up here, and I'd stopped out. Like, you have to use hard stops, especially in this market. In all markets, hard stops save lives. If you're not using a hard stop, you're kidding yourself. You're kidding yourself. You cannot react as fast as that candle. Look for longs. For me, no, not on a day like today. It's not like I'm aggressively would be looking for shorts, but I would need to see this build out more now. All right, so if we're going to be long bias, all right, what I'd want to see over the next few days or over tonight and tomorrow would be something like this. To then we can think about getting long and adding, and then coming for this and selling into that. and just holding runners. And then Wednesday, Thursday, those who've done the course, you'd know what I'd be looking for if this is low of week, if this is high of week, and if this happens on Tuesday or Wednesday, you know what I'd be looking for. But let's see. At the moment, we're still just in here, right? Nothing's changed. Been in here since Tuesday. Lots of volume being built out. Lots and lots of volume. All right, folks. I'm out of here. Red New York session for me. Small red New York session for me, but really good overnight session. So that's fine. Just give a little bit back off the top. Not a lot, a few hundred. It's fine. And we'll go again tomorrow. All right. Hopefully, I wouldn't mind if we build out and go sideways here. Selfishly, if we can just build out and go sideways here for the rest of the day, if we can stay boxed in inside value for the rest of the day, it will actually present better opportunities for the rest of the week. If we squeeze out early before tomorrow, it's going to make the rest of the week harder in my mind. So we'll see. And yeah, peace and love, everyone. Sorry, today was I was the wrong side of it. I mean, we had a couple goes, but it is what it is. Not every day is a great day. I was the wrong side of it this morning. It's just got to take it on the chin, and we go again tomorrow. All right. Peace out, and don't forget, if you want to support the stream, all the links are down below. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Use hard stops. Use hard stops. Take care.